live. Maybe that's the case. Maybe it isn't. Who knows? We're going to give it a shot and see what in the world happens. Scheduled? What? Hey, but it says we're live now. That's crazy. All right. Are people joining this thing? Who knows? So what we're doing tonight, folks, when people chime in on this, the topic for tonight's discussion is we're going to be talking about this story. It's on the News 9, Channel 9, Oklahoma City website. OKC protester charged with unlawfully handling a firearm. This is from Wednesday, August 19th, 2020 by Jennifer Pierce. We'll see if we can bring that on screen. And there it is. And we'll just see if we can do a little scrolling here. I don't know if anybody's logged on yet, but we'll be revisiting this. So, it says we're live. We'll be revisiting this. There, turn that sound off. We don't want any feedback here. So there's that. So it looks like we do have a few people chiming in. So that's going to be the topic, among other things. We're going to be talking about some gun stuff tonight, as usual. Hopefully we'll get this shared out and people will be able to follow us. So again, Adrian Otap here. We're going to be talking about the Oklahoma Self-Defense Act. Be talking about the Oklahoma Open Carry Association. We should go ahead and share this to the appropriate locations here. So, pop that to a few places and we'll get after this. So, for those of you that aren't following this story, I'll give you a bit of background on this. Over the weekend, good old classic Glock drinking vessel, courtesy of our friends at Big Boys Guns and Ammo in Mustang, Oklahoma. This past Sunday, we had a Back the Blue rally in Oklahoma City. Started out at Mesta Park. And if anyone was involved in that, oh my goodness, please chime in. Hey, Lacey, good to see you. How are you tonight? So I would love for this to be as interactive as possible. Please like and share this. Get some other people to come in. And let's see here. Hey, Jared, great comment right there. The SDA is very clear. Weapon must be carried by a sling, scabbard, or holster. That is so true. So as I was saying, hey, Zach, good to see you as well. Yes, again, as I was saying, please like, comment, share this. Let's get this interactive. We want to have a lively discussion about this topic. There is still some misconceptions out there regarding what took place, some of the backstory on this. People are like, oh my goodness, why are they arresting these people, these poor protesters? They're being picked on. Did they really break the law? The cops were picking on them. That is not the case. As Jared has pointed out in the chat, the SDA, which is the Oklahoma Self-Defense Act, is very clear. It's night and day. It's in black and white. It's very simple. And the definitions of concealed carry versus open carry, improper carry versus brandishing versus felony pointing, these things are all very clearly defined. And what constitute these various offenses. And, there's a right way and a wrong way and a legal way and an illegal way to carry and handle, manipulate firearms when you're in public in Oklahoma. And what was done is quite simply a violation. So we're going to get back to that. But again, I want to go back to some of the backstory and the background on this. But getting back to last Sunday, the Back the Blue rally. Some, as you will say, patriots organized this event. It's a great turnout at Mesta Park. A lot of armed individuals. A lot of people were open carrying. I was there to get live video, to get footage for this. Rowdy Podcast from Minnesota was in town to cover it as well. It was great to see them out there. Great guy. He's got over 22,000 YouTube subscribers, so it was great to see him out there. So lots and lots of patriotic Americans, flag-waving folks, Hey, Connie, good to see you. Yes, you are an American too. Out there, open carrying out there. We had members of the press out there with photographers, reporters that were open carrying. Um, Members of the media were there, and it was, we had a police escort. Motorcycle police were there, leading the parade efforts. The Trump bus with Trump flags all over it and all kinds of things of that sort. So this neighborhood where Mestre Park is located is a very, very liberal area, liberal enclave, and people there, they have a lot of Kendra Horn signs in their yards, and one house in their yard, they inflatable Trump, a baby Trump inflatable that they had there. So that was very interesting. So there were even people that were complaining. It's like, I can't believe these people were here in our neighborhood, and they can't do this. They can't have a gathering in our park. How can they do this? These people, we can't permit this. And that is, of course, as far from the truth as possible. This was an actual approved, permitted activity, and it was absolutely legitimate. And these people, shame on them for not believing in First Amendment rights. And it goes back to the general hypocrisy of the left when it comes to these things. They don't believe in free speech, they believe in convenient speech. They want to be able to say and do what they want to, but when it comes to opposing views, they want to shut that down, they want to silence that. And even going back to the demonstrations and the protests, the pro-free speech protests and demonstrations outside and inside of the Oklahoma County Courthouse last week, it really gets back to that. And yes, a comment there from Connie Grimm. There was a woman who said that we better not come back to their neighborhood. And this is even something that we saw, a couple weeks ago at the rally to support the A Lot of Action advertising agency. People that said, how can you have these symbols, bring these symbols of hatred into our neighborhood? And by a symbol of hatred, they were referring to the American flag imagery in this business's front window. They had, the American flag in their entrance with the Pledge of Allegiance and the letter Q as in QAnon. And that was a symbol of hate. And these are people that it's irony and it's hypocrisy to have these people who they chant and scream and yell that they are for open borders, and yet when it comes to their own neighborhoods and their own enclaves, they are so territorial, and they think that individual neighborhoods within cities should be like sovereign city-states. And that they should be sacrosanct, and they should have sovereignty. And again, it really gets back to the hypocrisy that these are the people that were for forced busing and integrated schools, but don't integrate their neighborhoods philosophically. Don't do that. You can't have diversity of thought. They just want diversity of exterior appearances. So anyway, we had this Back the Blue rally that eventually ended up at police headquarters. There was a stop at City Hall, and then it moved on to police headquarters, which is right across the street from the county jail. And excuse me a moment. Goodyear tire. When we made it to police headquarters, a number of these protesters, counter protesters in this case, Mark Falk, Adriana Laws, and some other people, they showed up to counter protest the Back the Blue people. And I will admit that the optics of this were not optimal. It was kind of backwards. It was not a good image. And unfortunately, the police escorts, the motorcycle police, they did intervene because the counter protesters, the liberals, they were going to be run off. they were going to be run out of the county if intervention did not take place. They were being screamed at, they were being yelled at, back the blue, back the blue, back the blue, USA, that kind of thing. And on one side, and then, meekly you were hearing, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. And even though they had a megaphone, a bullhorn, it really wasn't helping their case much. But it was like a scene at the end of like a zombie movie when the survivors were about to be overwhelmed by the undead hordes. And Mark Falk from Red State Revolt, he took screen captures from his live video, and it made the Back to the Blue people look like, just insane, crazy people. Which, of course, that was his goal, to make the Patriots look like crazy people. So, there you go. Good on you, Mark Falk. You won that round. So they followed the Back to the Blue folk across over to the county jail for the conclusion of this, and then I'm assuming, I'm not inside their heads, I'm not a telepath, and truth be told, I really don't care. But this perhaps was the genesis, or the catalyst that made them think, hey, well, these guys have guns, so we'll have guns too. They every week on a Monday, they have a Moral Monday protest. So the following day, this past Monday, they had their first Moral Monday armed protest, an armed march. In which case, I caught some of the video of this online and thought, you know what? Good on them. I'm that weird outlier. I'm that weird person in the gun rights movement in Oklahoma who says, you know what? I might disagree with a lot of things these guys do and say, but at the end of the day, Amendment 2 applies to, not everybody, but all citizens. And in that case, I literally said, you know what? They're open carrying. I support their right to do so long as they're doing so in accordance with the applicable state and local laws. And, I've taken some flack for having that position, but so be it. The Second Amendment applies to all of us. It, just like when they were at the courthouse fighting for, to not have free speech zones. I'm opposed to that too. Free speech zones are an abomination, just as a gun-free zone is. So anyway, I really think that's what spurred them on to have this armed march. And it's, hey, you know what? We do armed marches, we do armed protests, just like back on, the 20th of June when there was the Black Open Carry March in Oklahoma City. I was there to cover that. That was an amazing event. I wish more people within the Oklahoma gun rights community would have participated. Certain other organizations didn't want anything to do with it, wouldn't touch with a 10-foot proverbial pole, as they would say, tried to cop out and say, oh, well, it might rain that day, we're not going to go. We all know who that organization is, that super PAC, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. But anyway, fast forward to the end of their Moral Monday march, they decided to assemble for a group photo in front of police headquarters. And they lined up there with their weaponry on display. And two of the protesters, one of which is well known as being one of the ringleaders, if you will, of the movement, Adriana Laws, a 22-year-old young lady. She unholstered her handgun and she held it in front of her. And there's another young gentleman wearing a red bandana and a ball cap and some sunglasses. Looks like he's on his way to go rob a train. And he was also holding a pistol in his hand, which, again, this is absolutely illegal under Oklahoma law, under the Self-Defense Act. Must be carried using a sling, scabbard, or holster. So let's look at some of the comments here. Let's see. Let's see here. Let's see. You know how easy it is for one to gain a felony? It is. Funny, the instant silence happened when the cop said to quiet. Yes. Good comment, Connie. So we're going to go back over here to the imagery from the Channel 9 story. So here it is. OKC protester charged with unlawfully handling a firearm. So I want to talk about this here. So you can see, we've got Mr. Potential Train Robber here. I don't know if you can see the cursor moving, but he's on the left side here. Nobody knows who he is. Oklahoma City Police, they are still looking for him, looking to identify him. So if anybody knows who this guy is, let them know. Call Crime Stoppers. And then over here on the left, you have young Adriana Laws. She has her handgun there in front of her, I guess you'd call that her crotch area. And then there's a story there. So District Attorney David Prater wanted a arrest warrant issued for her. Turns out she was actually arrested twice in the same day for this offense. Seems terribly inconvenient, but she was bonded out multiple times. Good for her. I guess that's good for people's street cred. But she was arrested as well last week after one of the protests, raucous sessions of the county commissioners meetings. She was a passenger in an automobile. Police stopped the car and had her arrested on an outstanding DUI warrant. So say what you will. Some people would say that, well, there's a comment there from Judson Blevins, lock her up. Say what you will. Some people would say there's a conspiracy, that the powers that be are out to get her, that she's being targeted because she is a troublemaker to the powers that be. That very well may be. I would say that, if you are in a position like she is, and you're on the hot seat, and you have the spotlight on you, I would suggest doing what you need to do to maintain a low profile and try not to catch any gun charges. That would be a really good idea. So we're going to flop this back here. And just another reminder there to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you have not already done so. There's the quick shortcut, youtube.otap.com, and of course support us on Patreon, patreon.otap.com. So little background, little side story on this. Since yesterday, when I was at the Board of County Commissioners meeting in the morning, some of these leftists, these Antifa folk, they've decided to target me. I don't know if I'm being doxxed or if they're going to be, camping outside my house or anything like that. I'm not really worried about them. But who knows? Who knows what these people are capable of? So there's a Twitter account, Okie Fash Bash. They've decided to target me personally and say some less than complimentary things. If you have a chance, so when you have a chance, take a look at some of the things they're saying about me and some others. They like to identify people that they like to call fascists, which again, they're the actual fascists. They're the people that do not support free speech. They're the ones that do not support liberty. Anything but. That's what these people do. And so anyway, and also in some of the other social media outlets, people are saying less than complimentary things about me. I'm being accused of being some type of informant, that I'm conspiring with the district attorney to have these activists hunted down and arrested. And I think that it's very, very peculiar and strange and funny. It is very, it's hilarious. It's ridiculous. It's sad. And really, given that I'm one of the few people, on the right, if you will, that's actually sided with these people to any degree throughout the last few weeks, particularly as they've been doing these pro-free speech demonstrations, and even now that they've begun to carry firearms, as a gun rights advocate, an open carry advocate, if you will. I've been in discussions with some people, and of course, as an STA instructor, I am always more than happy, as they say, to tell people exactly what the law says. If you have questions, I will give you answers. If you want to know the information you need to keep something like this literally from happening, I'll tell you what you need to know. So to have them accuse me of conspiring and collaborating and colluding is absurd. In fact, they stalked myself and Tim Harper, of all people, leaving the courthouse yesterday morning. For those of you who are following the Tim Harper situation, he's had a number of continuances with his case. For those of you that are those of you keeping up with that, of course, Mr. Harper, he, kind of like these people, he had an oops moment, and his oops moment is a little more serious. It's a felony, but we're going to circle back to these people in a bit, because this very well could have been felony charges for them as well. And they're lucky that this is just a still photograph and not video footage that has audio of them saying or doing or moving in certain ways that could have elevated these charges to the felony level. But getting back to Tim Harper. So the county commissioners meeting yesterday began at, was scheduled to begin at 9 a.m. And my goodness, that's beside the point of the chicanery that took place at precisely 9 a.m. when the meeting did, in fact, begin. But prior to the beginning of the meeting, I was interacting with a number of people that I know, and a number of deputies, a number of the sheriff's deputies that were there, that were mentioning to me that there was an arrest that either had taken place or was in the process of taking place as we spoke. And that arrest in question was this young lady, this Miss Adriana Laws. And so I was inquiring, really, she's being arrested? What for? What happened? And they were kind of, they didn't really even know all the details, because, it's not like they have a hive mind. They're deputies. They're not the Borg from Star Trek. They don't all know everything that's going on at the same time. But even them, they didn't have all the details, but they knew there was some type of gun charge, some gun-related issue. And then D.A. Prater himself came in and interacted with me and told me that it had to do with a gun and brandishing and something that had taken place in front of police headquarters. It's like, oh, okay, well, so I let the word go out. There you have it, confirmed by District Attorney Prater and some deputies that Adriana Laws has been arrested for, brandishing. Here's the thing. And so because of that, I'm a collaborator now, and I'm conspiring. And, they describe, based on what they described to me, and I explained, okay, well, you know what? It sounds like that's a crime to me. So, hey, there's speak of the devil, and there he appears. There's Tim Harper. So, we're just, well, I was just about to talk about, interacting with you at the courthouse yesterday, and what these Okie Fashbass guys were saying about us, and how they were stalking us and taking pictures of you, taking off your taking off your clothes there, taking off your stripping down to a less formal attire because of your court appearance. But anyway, Tim had a court appearance also at 9 o'clock, and so this interaction I have with the district attorney was prior to that, and he had to leave to go over to Tim's court appearance because he's the prosecutor. He's prosecuting Mr. Harper. And of course, because of COVID-19 and the pandemic and all of the corona apocalypse madness, yes, oh no, I'm a secret agent, right? I'm a quadruple agent because I'm so privileged. But anyway, because of the corona apocalypse and all the corona madness, they're only allowing defendants and attorneys into the courtroom, the particular courtroom. And with that being said, I looked in the window. I saw, hey, there's Tim sitting there. There's District Attorney Prater over there. I will just wait outside. I will have a seat. I will wait patiently. So I did that for a few minutes. District Attorney Prater emerges. He comes over to me. We interact for a bit. He tells me, okay, well, Mr. Harper's lawyer apparently had a heart attack this morning, so we're going to have a continuance until next month. That's that. See you later. And, there's that. And a few minutes later, Mr. Harper comes out. We talk. We leave the building. Eventually, we leave the courthouse and we're walking out together, and that's when whoever bash people are, they see us there, and I guess they put 2 and 2 together, and it adds up, because that's how Common Core math works these days, folks. And they take pictures of us, and they post it on their Twitter, and they take pictures of Tim taking off his shirt that he had on, his formal attire for his court appearance. They take pictures of him removing that near the parking garage, and then they post it online with some type of spurious accusations. And it's just so ridiculous. So anyway, getting back to this the picture here, this infamous photograph that they took. You know, let's talk about this. You know, it's not like they're picking on these people. You know, some people they want to make this a racial thing. Everything is racism these days, folks, and we know this. We've seen this in the news. We've seen this in the mainstream media. You know, everything from, you know, Rutgers University last month said that grammar is racist. You know, English grammar is racist. I've seen, you know, news stories that says that the weather is racist, the environment is racist, math is racist, time itself, you know, chronology is racist. Everything is racist. So I'm just not going to subscribe to that notion. That's just absurd and ridiculous. And if we just look back over the last few months, I think that when it comes to these gun issues and gun charges and people going to jail for gun-related issues, I think we're just going to say it's not racist. Cameras are not racist. And at the end of the day, Amendment 5 is your friend, and you really just don't want to be pictured or videoed doing things that are just not, you know, legal. You know, if we think about Christopher Ledbetter out in McLeod, Oklahoma, you know, of course, there are those who are going to say that, you know, maybe he was targeted because of things that he was involved with McLeod Police Department. But at the end of the day, he was demonstrably doing things that were against the law, and he was videoing himself doing things that were against the law and admitting to doing other illegal activities. And now he is in jail pretty much forever. So let's just take that with a grain of salt. And there are also other instances of, you know, various people that have, you know, taken pictures of themselves doing things with guns that you ought not do. So, you know, that's just a good point. So with this, you know, because they're not moving, you know, we can't really say that they're brandishing. You know, because with brandishing, you're using the handgun in a way, or the long gun, the weapon. I mean, it could be a knife. It doesn't have to be a gun. You're using it in a way that is designed to, you know, use the weapon in a way to influence the behavior of another person. So you can't really make that determination. You can't ascertain that from looking at the still picture. Whereas if you had video, you know, that could be a different story, especially if there's audio and you can hear them saying something. And again, you know, these are protesters or demonstrators. These are people that don't particularly like the police. These are people that say things like, you know, defund the police, all cops are bastards, the only good cop is a dead cop, you know, things of that sort. So, you know, we're looking at, you know, terroristic threats, all kinds of other potential charges that would rise to the level of felonies. So they're very lucky that it's just a still picture at this point. So let's see here. Rat-a-tat-tat. Yes, intimidation. Oh my goodness. Hashtag Sporky rules. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Sporky. Let's see. Oh my goodness. Let's see. Did you hear the ridiculous notion that some idiot teacher in the news says that American history class should be abolished? Yes. I saw that. I think that might have been from, was that the thing from Chicago? That we should revisit how we teach history, and that all history classes should be taught from multiple perspectives. And it's, you know, it's absurd. It's this revisionist nonsense. It basically, it's a movement to do away with standards, which really is the essence of multiculturalism. And it brings me back to something I was pointing out this morning at the Reagan breakfast, which is that diversity is an illusion. Multiculturalism is poison, and white guilt is voluntary mental retardation. And that's the bottom line, folks. And it's an assault on the very foundations and fabric of American society and American culture. They want to just tug on that string and unravel the fabric of our society. They want to tear it asunder, and we really should not stand for it. We've been laying down and rolling over too long, and I say no more. So Oh goodness. So there's that. So let's talk about something else here. When I was in the middle of breakfast this morning, somebody was talking to me, or I received a message asking about, are there any quick references or pocket guides to constitutional carry or permitless carry in Oklahoma? Because people have been getting, a lot of messages like, what can I do? What can't I do? Where can I carry? Quick things like this. And, I like to read and reread the SGA book, the little red book this year. The book's a different color every year. Yay! Looking forward to the end of October when I get my new book. But a lot of people, they read and reread their Bibles. It's the Bible for me. I read and reread that thing, and there's always a new insight to be found, and the interplay between state and federal laws on some of these things. And I just want to throw out there that some of the quick things to really keep in mind are understanding, of course, some of the really more ridiculous things. The fact that it's considered open carry in Oklahoma if you have a gun in a gun case, even if no part of the gun is visible to the naked eye. That's crazy. So let's think about this. If you have a handgun in a factory Glock box, that's open carry. But if you take the gun out and put it in a Nike shoebox, that's concealed carry. Crazy. So there's that. So even without a handgun license, let me rephrase this. Even with permitless carry or constitutional carry, you still will need a license if you want to be completely legal and in the safe to carry in the following places. Any place licensed to dispense alcohol is a non-primary activity. In a moving vehicle, if you are stopped for in your vehicle, if it's a pistol that is loaded, if you are stopped for a moving traffic violation, or if you are within the 1,000-foot federal bubble around a school, in which case you will need to have a license that is issued by the state that the school is in. And the wonderful thing about the school bubble, this is the Federal Gun-Free School Zones Act, is that applies even if you are in your car driving past a school, if you're in the 1,000-foot bubble. So something to keep in mind if you're in a school zone or just near a school, and if you're on public property, if there's a public park across the street from a school, I'll just leave that to your imagination. But it's something to keep in mind. If let's put it this way: school is going to be back in session, and even with the corona apocalypse, we might have virtual school, online learning. The school zone lights might still start blinking, even if school is not physically in session. If those lights are blinking, that is a legit school zone. So you need to slow down. So if you don't slow down and you get pulled over for speeding and you have a gun in your car and you're within that 1,000-foot bubble and you don't have a handgun license issued from the state that school's in, that's going to be a bad day potentially. So think about that. A lot of people don't. I'd hate for you to find out the hard way. All right, that's about all I've got for tonight. I hope everybody's having a fantastic day. Once again, if you haven't subscribed to us on YouTube, please do so. There is the YouTube reminder right there. Get over there, hit that bell for reminders. And of course, support us on the Patreon, patreon.otap.com. Every little bit helps because, hey, I might drive a Prius, but I still need gas money. It's I might be privileged, but it costs $1 or $2 to get around all these events that I like to live stream for all of y'all. What can I say? All right, that's it. We've got Breakfast with Bice coming up this Saturday morning. That will be an event with State Senator Stephanie Bice, who is running for the 5th Congressional District. Also attending that event is a joint campaign event with her and Tommy Johnson III, who is running for Oklahoma County Sheriff against incumbent P.D. Taylor, and John Eccles, House floor leader. He will also be there as well. He's also up for re-election. So that is going to be a fantastic event coming up this Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Be there or be square, or don't be there, because I'll be there streaming it for you guys. You know, isn't it great the way that works? And you know what? And I'm going to go ahead and talk about this one thing before I go. Excuse me. Get another little sip of water here. And this is another comment that came out of, you know, people accusing me of being a conspirator or a collaborator or a colluder with the sheriff and the district attorney and all this nonsense. And it also factors into some of this stuff that happened after the county commissioners meeting yesterday morning. Let's talk about how this meeting went down. So normally this vote, oh my goodness, this $40 million CARES Act money that was voted away or voted to the jail trust. And of course, the jail trust actually had a meeting at 3 p.m. later that day. And it came out, it was revealed that the jail trust never requested this money. The county commissioners decided that they want the money and they want the jail to have the money, and they're just going to get the money and give it to the jail, and the jail doesn't necessarily want the money. Maybe the jail trust will try to not even accept the money. Who knows? But here's the thing. The meeting was scheduled to begin at 9 a.m. The agenda item that was set for the CARES Act money vote was like 24 on the agenda. But at 9 on the dot, the chairman of the county commissioner board decided to move that to agenda item 1 and immediately vote on it. No pledge of allegiance, no prayer, not even waiting for all of the county commissioners to show up. 2 out of the 3 commissioners were there. Commissioner Bloomert wasn't even in the room yet. Within 40 seconds, vote over and done with, done deal, vote is concluded, $40-something million, boom, over and done with. So anyway, after that, you know, some would say travesty, some would say model of efficiency. I don't know, you be the judge. Anyway, after that, when the, you know, they wanted to have the media press junket, if you will, the Commissioner Calvi shut the doors and wouldn't let Tyreek Baker from the Black Times into the meeting room with the rest of the media organizations to, you know, for interviews. And he was a little upset about that. And he has some, you know, some live stream footage of him talking to some sheriff deputies to say, well, how do they determine which media people get to come in and which ones don't, and what's going on? And, you know, different people from Channel 5, Channel 9, they were upset about this. They were siding with him. Like, well, you know, really, does the government get to decide who is media enough, who is press enough to come in for these interviews? So, you know, that's, you know, kind of concerning that they would, you know, kind of push people to the side like that. So, yeah. So, hey, there's a comment there from Zach. Somebody's pocketing some money, you know, and that is a question that people are bringing up. You know, people are wondering, you know, with the fact that, you know, Kevin Calvi, he is on both the Board of County Commissioners and he is on the jail trust. So what's the connection there? What is the crossover? Is there some way that, he can be profiting from this. Who knows? Is there any type of crony capitalism involved? Are there any type of contractors that would potentially, receive money? Are there any kickbacks? Only time will tell. Because let's think about this. We've got the budget board involved. We have the members of the jail trust, the budget board. We have the county treasurer that's voted against this. We have one of the county commissioners, Commissioner Bloomberg, has voted against this. We have the sheriff himself who has voted against this. So, yes, we have prominent members of the community that are saying, you know what, we need to have the federal government come in and investigate this and audit this and make sure that make sure that this money is being allocated and spent correctly. But anyway, getting back to where I'm going is people have commented on me saying that, my goodness, I'm not the press, but somehow with my privileged ass, I get to take my camera wherever I want and film anything I want anyway. And I'm just going to assure people that is not the case. It just doesn't work that way. It may seem that way to people on the outside looking in, but I'll assure you that is not the case. But take it for what you will. Some people do get to go where some other people don't. That's just the world, nature of the beast, and you should take it with a grain of salt and enjoy the fruits of that when you can. But don't knock it till you try it. And, I'm, grateful, absolutely, for when I do get to go to certain places and film certain things. I don't even know how to address some of these criticisms. But, here's the thing. You just have to keep on keeping on, doing what you're doing, and fighting the good fight. You know what? Right there, Marianne, you have a very good point. It is what it is because it can't be what it ain't. And what are you supposed to do with it? What are you supposed to do? You take it and you work with it. You make the best of it. We need to vote for Shane Jett. He's surely blessed and guided by God. Well, if that's what you want to do, if you want to vote for Shane Jett, you do that. Thank you, Zach. I appreciate that. Connie, I definitely appreciate that. Well, I'll tell you what, Connie, I like to sum it up this way. At the end of the day, if you keep in mind that you have 2 eyes and 2 ears and 1 mouth, and you try to use them in that proportion, that's a big help. But more importantly, if you remember that you catch more flies with honey than with vinegar. If you keep that in mind, generally people will not want to give you a shoebox with a hand grenade in it, and it'll get you pretty far in life. And if you try to maintain a sense of humility and gratitude, things will generally just work out in the end. So that's my final message here. Remember, Oklahoma Self-Defense Act, it is online. Just Google search OKSGA law book. If you know what the law says, you'll be a lot less likely to break the law. I'm not a shill for U.S. Law Shield. Yes, I used to be a U.S. Law Shield rep. They do what they say. I know people have some criticisms because of some of the Tim Harper stuff, but I've had a different side, a different perspective. Having been on both sides of the curtain with U.S. Law Shield, they do what they say. But I'll tell you, with these protesters, you don't want to get caught up in these gun charges. I was commenting on some of this, like, for those of you that know Moto, Adam Moto set from Oklahoma Taxpayers Unite, he recently wrapped up a gun charge. He was, my goodness, it was like well over a year and a half ago, just prior to constitutional or permitless carry going into law. He stubbornly refuses to get a permit. But, hey, you don't have to now. But, at the time, he did not have a license. He was open carrying while driving around his car. He stopped by Highway Patrol. And, the traffic stop went perfectly well. But at the end of it, the trooper asked to see his SDA license. And he freely admitted that he did not have one. And well, I think we can all see where it goes from there. But he just recently wrapped up dealing with that. And the point I'm getting at here is these gun charges, they are a lengthy, costly process, folks. And these are things that can be very simply avoided if you just know and understand what the law says, and understand the law is not discriminatory. The law doesn't care who you are, what you look like, where you come from. Equality before the law is the only type of equality that truly matters. Once we lose that, that's where discrimination and oppression truly begins. And that's the basis of everything really that we have in American society. That's the foundation of everything. So I'm going to leave it at that. If anybody else has any other specific questions about gun laws in Oklahoma, what you can do, what you can't do, I would love to see more listings of crazy places where people wouldn't expect that would be prohibited locations. Places that you would like to see me take Sporky. For those of you that are tracking my Sporky exploits, I think I'll do another trip to Penn Square Mall to go to J. Crew. I think that'll be a good one. For those of you that don't know, the J. Crew clothing store in Penn Square Mall does have a quote-unquote liquor license. They have a complimentary beverage license at J. Crew, folks. So if you take a gun in there and have a license, double felony, folks. Don't do it. Don't do it. All right, that's it. OTAP out. Support us on Patreon. Help keep this thing rolling. Have a great night, everyone. Yep, furniture store. Bob Mills Furniture. He might be the working man's friend, but he ain't the gun-toting man's friend. Through no fault of his own. Through no fault of his own. See, that's the thing. It takes private property rights completely out of the equation. It doesn't matter if Bob wants you to have your gun there. It's a felony anyway. Do we understand this and how messed up that is, and how anti-liberty, how anti-personal liberty that is? There you go, Sporky 2024. You know what? I think after next week, I'm just done with Oklahoma County politics. I'm tired of them. I don't even live in that county. I'm hang out here in Canadian County, where West, West is a true constitutionalist. We have liberty and freedom here, and I'm just going to get away from the madness. I'll be a tourist over in Oklahoma County. I don't even like it going over there and spending money for Lord Emperor Holt, the mayor over there. Yeah. Oh my goodness. All right. That's really it. Good night, everybody.